we are as a group. All right. Where we are as a group and all the new things that are out there, but how laser focused our company is on what we do is is next level. Okay. And the our I wouldn't say vision, but goal working with agents, okay, is 20,000 paid volume within 90 days. Okay. Is anybody in here now? Would anybody be opposed to that? If you want to be higher than that, dude, I'm fired up for you. But within 90 days of having your insurance license or getting contracted with Family First Life, would issue paying 20 plus $1,000 a month? Is that something that you want to be doing? If so, put a one in the chat right now. I want to know who we're talking to, okay? Or who we're helping with, who we're working with. All right? Because there's a lot of we don't want to just be throwing things against the wall. All right? Because if you got to believe it. So there's a lot of folks on here, Marysa, right now that goes, "Hey, I just got started with you guys." Or I've been with you guys for a month, 2 weeks, 3 days. You know what I mean? And sometimes those first 3 days are the hardest. All right. How do we get there? All right. You're working with so many new agents. All right. And quality too. All right. And I know you're hiring a ton, but you're figuring out who to work with. And a lot of this training is, yes, I want the agents to figure out how do they go out there and sell 20 plus $1,000 a month. But I'm really interested in is how is your communication with agents? What are you structuring? How are you as somebody like Brienne, right? She's going to be on our call. I see her she's on. I know your team, not personally, but I know them. And that's the reason I'm like, yo, we got to have her on because I feel like I know her agents and she doesn't even tell me about her agents. They're just showing up on leaderboards and they're on live and they're doing this and they're doing that. So you guys today, who we have the privilege of having on is Hall of Fame producer. I think is it 3 time or 4 time?
It's actually 2 time.
Two
I
time?
missed it by like 8K one year.
Of
I didn't
course, of
understand,
course.
you know?
All right, so 3.33, I mean, like 2.75, you know what I mean? But no, like, no doubt, but you know the reason why, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, but Hall of Fame producer, and if you don't know what that means, right? So a lot of times we just throw things out there and people are like, what does that mean? That's over $400,000 of paid annual premium. Somebody asked in our chat, they said, what do those numbers mean? And I said, they're like, yeah, what does AP mean? I was like, dude, that's annual premium. You know what I mean? They're like, whoa, that's $1,000. I'm like, yeah, dude, imagine doing 400 of those. And imagine doing on average 20 of those a month within your first 90. Okay. So Marissa's put up the numbers. She's shown people how to go out there and do it. And how many Hall of Fame agents have you worked with over the years? Or are you tracking this year or did you have last year?
10. So
So she's going to help 10 other people outside of herself go out there and live the dream. So I'm gonna get out the way. I wrote down, I was prepared. I wrote down like a lot of questions and stuff. All right. But I'm sure they got some questions. But really, if you can just like help us get started, all right? Or if I'm already started, help me get recentered and start this thing the right way and see profitability. All right. And if you can talk about not even that first 20K month, okay, but the second one. I think the second one's harder than the first.
no doubt.
Okay. So can we like kind of walk us through that? Because that first 90 days, we're talking averaging, okay? Not going 20, 15, 12. No, 20, 30, 40. How do we do that? Because this business is going to throw some stuff at you that may make you start doubting yourself. And I know we've all been there and you're one of the realest to ever speak it. So let me get the hell out the way and y'all take some notes. But thank you for being on.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. And I think that, like, first and foremost, you guys leading with the I am affirmations, that was really inspiring for me. So thank you for just letting me be a part of that. I do that every morning, guys, and I say it to myself in the mirror. I've done it for the last 8 years, and this might sound crazy, but like all jokes aside, I don't know if I would still be in this business if I didn't know what I am for the last 8 years in the mirror. Because when you don't know who you are, you second guessing yourself, you're already putting yourself in a really tough spot in this business. So Dom, thank you for letting me be a part of that. But also, I love how you said restructuring where you're at now. Guys, if you're a week in, you're 6 months in, or anywhere in between that, or you're brand spanking new right now, you can always reset. And I think that's really important to know in this business. Like, I was definitely not always perfect. When I was out in the Connecticut office with Sean and he was up in Connecticut, I'm in Massachusetts, really blessed to have had that opportunity, which I might have not even realized at the moment. But one of the biggest things that really stuck out to me was Sean was never focused on what happened last week. He was focused on what's happening right now. What's happening right now and what can we change? Why are you only writing 17 grand a month? And you're like, yeah, that I know I could do 30, but I just work 2 days a week, right? It's like you got to restructure yourself. And when you're actually truly ready to restructure yourself, it's all comes back to mindset, habit, and skill. And the cool thing about that is we can change our mindset, we can build habit, and we can build skill. So bring it back that sales is just a matter of essentially skills built up over time. And no one was ever perfect. Like, especially not me. I was actually probably the worst person ever start in the industry. So, a couple of things to keep track of, I guess, when you're trying to get started fast or you're trying to get into that restructured frame is where's my schedule at? Guys, I can tell you right now, somebody being in the business for now 9 years, not all with FFL, unfortunately, but 9 years in this industry, resetting and restructuring yourself is necessary. But the first necessary piece of that is, am I following my schedule? Like, if you're not following your schedule, I can't make you show up. Dom can't make, no one can make you show up except you. So you have to first decide you want to be here. And then if you're going to be here, right? You're going to show up to the Zoom room. You're going to be on live dials. Why are we not maximizing that time? We used to say when we were in the home, right? Like, and we still say, did you take all day to dial or did you dial all day? And what we really mean by that is like, what is happening? Are you contacting people? Were you getting into homes at the time, AKA transition to telesales? Are we getting people on the phone? What are they saying? How are we fixing it? How are we readjusting there? What is our mindset like? Guys, if you are looking at your leads and you're like, oh, they're all probably going to tell me that, they already got it taken care of. Way to think it into existence. But guess what? You are going to have people that tell you they already got it taken care of. That's exactly why you're calling. It's just my job to make, you got to know what you're going to say. So my point is in the beginning, guys, you're supposed to suck. Like, excuse my language, but like, you're supposed to. Like, you're not supposed to be like, come into this thing and be like, oh, I already know everything about life insurance and how to sell it, make sure the bank are going to give me the bank. They're going to trust me. They're going to love me. Like, you might, and that's awesome, but 99% of people don't come in with that skill of they just know everything. So guys, humble yourself because even if somebody is maybe older than you, younger than you, trying to teach you the game, like they're just trying to teach you the game. So follow what they're saying as long as their numbers prove it. In terms of your activity, after you get that schedule, it's like, what are you doing when you show up to the dial room? Are you showing up and you're playing, bingo on your phone? Like what are you actually doing? Right? Like, and be honest with yourself. Doing a self audit when you're trying to restructure or structure and frame your business is really important. Like, what is my mindset saying about this business? What's my mindset saying about the leads? Because one thing I can promise y'all is it ain't the leads. Because there's been many times I tried to blame the leads, and then there just came a point where I stopped blaming the leads, and I had to, okay, it's you, dude. Like, it's me. It's me. It's me. And when you can start taking that self-accountability, you can restructure what you're saying with your leads. If you're like, oh, all these leads are going to tell me they got it taken care of. Great. Well, you better be really good at dealing with, I already got it taken care of. Good thing it's just a skill you got to pick up. But when you're in the dial room, are you unmuting? Can anybody hear you? If we cannot hear you, we cannot help you, period. No one can. And if you're like, well, I was on this call and record yourself. Guys, when I first came into this business, you might be like, well, that was 9 years ago, technology. I don't care if it was today. If I came in today, this is what I'm doing. I am going to record every phone call I have. So if I am not taking notes of what I'm getting on the phone, I can now be like, Dom, today I got 12 people that I got to the end. They told me I need to think about it. Okay, first of all, he's probably like, why were you not unmuted? People would have helped you. Second of all, he's probably going to be like, okay, let's work on the I need to think about it real quick. What are you saying? How are you saying it? But if he doesn't, we don't know what you're saying, it's really difficult to help you. So, guys, unmute in the dial room. I know it's uncomfortable. I was really uncomfortable when I got started in this business, and I was sitting live in a room of 40 plus people, and we were literally on top of each other. Like, and they're like, call these leads. And I was like, I don't even know what that means. And it was a no cost benefit. And I'm sitting there shaking, calling with all this noise in the background. You can be like, the Zoom is noisy. Put your AirPods in, put one in, and then put a headset, lock it in, put the phone on speaker, lock it in. Like, I love y'all, but when we need feedback in the first, should be like 30 days, because we should be running through those first 100 appointments. Because when we can run through the first 100 appointments in 30 days, that's what's going to get you selling 20K a month. You're going to get all the objections out of the way. You're going to be, I know how to do this. You're going to show up with a better stance of, I know what I'm doing, right? And when you can show up that way, things look a heck of a lot different than when you're showing up and you're just like, well, I'm going to get on Zoom today again for 6 hours. And I'm going to be like, I did my 6 hours today. Okay, that's great. But what did you get done in the 6 hours? So a self audit, what I do at the end of every day. And sometimes, honestly, looking at it, I'm like, wow, I could have got a whole lot more done today than I did. Flat out. I'm human too, guys. My point is if you have a goal of what you want done, or you're able to look at, this is what I actually did, it's just allowing you to come back to earth of like, this is where this is what I got to work on. I'm not dialing enough. They tell me I need to make, 300 to 500 dials a day right now. I made 30. Okay. Like, I made 30 dials. You could write that down, right? Tomorrow, I'm going to make more dials. My point is, guys, is if you're not getting uncomfortable in some way, shape, or form in this business, you will not grow. It's like the insurance law, okay? Like you just aren't going to grow if you're not getting uncomfortable in this business. And getting uncomfortable in this business is going to mean you have to unmute when you don't want to unmute. It's going to mean you have to take feedback from people sometimes when you don't want to take feedback. But what else it's going to realize is you have to have the activity in this business. And no matter what you do, you can try to avoid it. You can try to automate the activity. And I always think that that's a really fun one. They're like, I sent out 300 text messages through an automated system, dude. Like, I love you. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm just saying that is not working. Working is dialing the phone in terms of personal production. Now, your first month, again, like Dom said, we want to go from 7 to 12 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 and so on. We don't want to go 20 to 8 to 5 to I have chargebacks. I don't know. No. You're just not showing up. So like, be clear. If you write 20 this month, the next month you write 4, it's on you. Like, you didn't do what you said you were going to do. So again, it goes back to mindset, habit, and skill. If your habit is to show up to work, you're going to show up to work. I think I don't know how to not show up to work. So I show up. Like, I'm like, what else would I be doing? Like, I don't know. Maybe I would be golfing. Okay, is golfing going to make you money? I don't know. It doesn't make me money. I don't golf. My whole point, guys, is whatever skill you've learned when you were, think of your childhood sport, okay? Rami tells me that, cheerleading isn't a sport. I think it is. We are throwing our bodies in the air and we're tumbling. But I mean, Rami told me it's not a sport. Moving on, though. It is a sport, okay, ladies? I know some of y'all out there, like, it is a sport. It's 100% a sport. With that being said, guys, when I first got into cheerleading, like, I was terrible. Like, I was terrible. I was a kid. I was awful. But guess what? I thought I was awesome. That's what I'll tell you. I thought I was it. Okay, then I started getting a little bit older, okay? And you start, like, your friends start, like, ragging on you and shit. And my point is at that point, you have to just develop your skill. But if my coaches weren't around to help me develop that skill, trust when I say I would have never pulled even a back handspring, never mind any other tumbling. Like, you have to start somewhere. And my whole point is you might fall doing the back handspring, whatever your sport is, okay? You might fall doing it. Any sport you do, you're going to fall. You're going to fall, fail doing it. If you don't, like, is it really, like, worth it? I don't know. For me, it was. My whole point, guys, is in a sport, you're committed to it. This is your business. So whatever you were doing before this, let's translate that work ethic here. If you're like, I was working 9 to 5 and I hated my boss. Every time you don't want to pick up the phone, think of that damn boss because you're about to go back there if you don't pick up the phone. Flat like that. And I say that with love because, guys, the reps that you're not getting in every day when you show up and you don't do anything, or you do like 50 dials. It's like, guys, 50 dials, like Dom knows, like 50 dials it's not nothing. It means nothing. That's like an hour. You should be knocking out 50 dials in an hour. So make sure you're getting your reps in. Just like I had to get my reps in cheerleading to make sure I ended up being really good at that sport. Like y'all got your reps in somewhere and got really good at something along the way. Think back to that when you're going through tough moments and failures. And it's not a failure, it's a lesson, as long as you're getting feedback and critique. If I kept falling when I was tumbling and I wasn't getting help from my coach, I would have got really hurt. AKA in this business, you could get really financially hurt if you're not getting feedback and you just keep doing the same thing that's wrong and repetitive, because now you're doing the same thing you should. You're like, hi, is this Dom? And nobody can hear you. So you keep doing, hi, is this Dom? And you don't know why you're not getting any better. Instead of saying, Dom, this is Marysa, I'm getting back to you with the request you sent in. It's like that small change can change everything, right? Like just like the way that my feet were placed when I got started tumbling was the issue as to why I was landing the way I was landing. It's usually a smaller minor tweak or adjustment. So guys, make sure you're getting the feedback. Like it doesn't make sense. There's way too many people here to help you. And we have come together so much. I'm so thankful for it as a team that like there's no excuse unless you don't want to be writing 20K a month as to why you shouldn't be on a trajectory that's going up. Like we have everything. I can honestly confidently say, Dom, I don't think the leads have ever been better since I've been here. I don't think that the training and the fact that we have access to people like this, like when me and Dom were in the field, we could call someone, but like I hope they answer. Like, yo, there's 50 people on here. Like, you got like the heck? Like, you have everything you need in front of you. It's just up to you to grab it and run with it. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to stay on mute? Are you going to stay on mute and keep doing the same thing that's probably a little bit wrong, so to say, meaning script, tonality, whatever it might be? Or are you going to get uncomfortable, unmute, show everybody what's up, and that you're not like, you're here to win. You don't care what other people think. Because guess what, guys? When I hear an agent unmuted in the dial room, I'm not like, oh, wow, this person's terrible. I'm like, okay, good for them. They're unmuted. Let's go. Let's help them. Like, it's exciting. Versus like, okay, we got Joe, John, and Tim on, and none of them are going to unmute, and they're all just going to learn how to sell life insurance at their house by themselves. It's humanly impossible. So guys, get uncomfortable. But until you're willing to do that, it's really difficult for anybody to help you in this business. So, Dom, I know that was like really long-winded, but
Oh, that was great. I had a couple like, when we're talking about that activity and um I think of, this new what we kind of had was when we started, we were forced out of our house. It was really hard to be lazy when you got to get in your car. How do we stay strong when we just roll out of bed and hop on the computer? Like, what are some things to be a good work from home person? I know you had to do this transitioning from where you were to, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
we were used to working a whole nother way. And now how did you lock in, and what were those things that you had to change, and how do you teach people to set up a good work from home environment? And also communicate with the people around you. How do you do that?
Yeah, for sure. So honestly, it was like a huge change for me. Like just like you said, we would get in the car and kind of Odd Day just began. We would talk with agents in the car. Like I listened to some podcasts. My car is a rolling, just completely different. And then Dom, one day I found myself in my my office, and I was like, I was on the phone with my sister. Okay, this is a real story. I was on the phone with my sister. I was like, dude, I've been getting no-showed all day. Like, I said, I had just transitioned to telesales, guys. So I was not used to sitting in my office. So I'm like, oh, let me call my sister, right? Like, okay, stupid. I know. Just rock with me, okay? Let me call my sister, right? So I'm on the phone with Christina. I'm like, dude, everybody's like no-showed me today. Like, this is crazy. Like, I had like 14 appointments, like blah, blah, blah. Like, I hope that the next 7 people answer. And she's like, Marysa, like, I'm not trying to be like mean right now. Like, I'm happy to talk to you, but like, don't you think you should just like call some more people? And I was like, you know what? I have to go. Okay. And I got off the phone. Okay. Now I was mad in the moment, but I was like, yo, she's right. But I was sitting there and I was almost like sitting there, like feeling bad for myself, right? Like I caught myself for the first time in a long time feeling bad for myself. Like, poor me, poor you. You have to sit in an office and call people. It's like, guys, I'm really sarcastic. I mean this all with love because it's all things I done wrong. That's why I'm basically talking shit about me a little bit, okay? So rock with me. My environment was a mess, okay? I'm calling my sister when I'm getting no-show, which is the stupidest thing I heard ever since I've said it out loud. I'm not in an environment. I'm like walking through the whole office. I'm walking downstairs, upstairs, not in this controlled environment. Whereas on Monday and Thursday, I would lock myself in that office in the field and the door wouldn't open. That's it. I was in there until my day was done. My appointments were booked. And I had to think, why was I not treating it that same way? What had to change around me? Now, one thing I did do was I built an office in my house. Not built. I put a desk in an extra room in my house, which is where I'm sitting right now. And I do have my office I go to typically 4 or 5 times a week. Now, with that being said, there's always going to be distractions at home. And living with Rami and us both being in the business, whether you're in that situation or you're not, you might have a kid at home, you might have a significant other at home. You need to find a place that you can go and you can explain to anybody you live with. And if you live by yourself, kudos, there we go. You're going to explain to nobody that when you're in that room, like you love them, but unless it's a true emergency that they would call you at a W-2 position, you're asking them as your girlfriend, as your partner, as your sister, as your brother, as whatever. I am asking you as my significant other to make sure when I am in that room that you don't bother me unless it's an emergency, that you would call me at a W-2 position and you would make sure you got through to me. If it's not, please, please let me be in there because when I'm in there, it means I'm doing my job. Guys, it's going to push that conversation with whoever it is. I don't care if it's your damn dog, just have the conversation because you got to say it out loud. You have to own that. And then remove distractions. If you have stuff in front of you, like, I don't know, like there's a TV in the background, there's whatever it is, pick your favorite distraction. Y'all know what it is because it's around you. For me, it was I was walking through my whole office, not treating my specific office like my office. I was treating the whole thing like my office. There'd be a little bit of leads upstairs, my iPad's downstairs, my actual notebook is in my physical office. Make sure you have the tools in the same room with you. Wherever you're rocking out, all your tools should be there with you. Outside of that, remove distractions. If you got a TV in the background, if you're like, oh, I think I can watch my kid at the same time that I can sell insurance, like I love you, but you can't do that. Like it just doesn't sound good. I'm not a parent, but it just doesn't sound like a good idea. You want to remove those distractions because guys, that's what's going to help you win, especially at home. Because just like Dom said, when we were in the field, when we got into the car, it was like the lights are on. Like, let's do this thing. Like, that's it. Like, we're going to finish our day and we're going to go back home. You got to treat the thing the same way. Whenever you're starting your day, you're going into your office. I'm not saying you can't eat. I'm just saying you don't leave the damn office until you go home. Going home is whenever your schedule says you're going home or your activity, however you monitor that. But you got to make sure that no matter where you're at, it's somewhere that you feel like, hey, I can have a positive mindset in this place. There's not yelling in the background. No one's mad at you because you had the appropriate conversations like an adult. And I think being able to do that allows you to set yourself up for success and then just focus on what you need to focus on. And guys, some of us have to focus on, I don't know, not over talking at the beginning of the introduction. Okay. Some of us got to focus on when we close, just ask the closing question and stop talking. We all got to focus on different things, but when you can be locked in terms of your brain, when I'm saying locked in a workspace, you're going to be so much more productive than if you're sitting on the couch and there's people around, there's a TV in the background. Like I wouldn't buy insurance from you straight up. I wouldn't. I'd be like, yo, you got a TV in the background. Like I thought this was like when I die, like you're going to be the one that kind of helps out. It's like, so show up like the professional that you are. And like, that's going to look a little bit different for everyone. But what it should look like is you're in a room with the stuff you need to dial, which is basically an iPad, computer, whatever you use, and your phone. And your everything else is on the computer or the phone. That's it. So just show up. But you have to decide what that's going to look like. So that's really what I feel like it comes back to is like your work environment. Is my work environment a friendly place? Is it a place I like to show up to? And if it's not, change it. Because nothing's going to change till you at least get that piece down. And if you're like, oh, well, insert excuse, well, I love you, but you should probably just quit now. Because if you can't control your work environment, it's going to be really, really difficult to stay consistent here.
Sean would call it he says there's layups in this business, and sometimes layups, it could be a difficult conversation, but it's an easy conversation to have. All right. That conversation about your environment and things like that, you could not do it and still kind of have some success, but then it spills over into your relationships. Now that's a problem. Now, when you go in that office, now you get the stank eye. Makes sense. It's like, dude, let's just have the conversation. Why are we doing this? Okay, what do we want? What are we willing to give up? Those are the things there. Um, Marysa, do you have actually, does anybody have I have questions here. All right. Do you have another point that you're going to right now?
No, I was just gonna say, like, on the next thing I was gonna say was you have to bet on you. Like,
Ooh,
even if
okay.
you don't believe in you heavy right now, you got to bet on you. Like, you're here for a reason. You chose a commission-based sales position. You're here for a reason. Bet on you.
That's big. You said you chose a commission-based you chose a commission-based position. So you must bet on you. And if you guys have questions, put them in the chat here. All right. I have a question here. What are some of the biggest potholes, all right, that you see agents fall into? Okay. And then on the flip side, the agents that don't fall into it, what are they doing there?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things I see daily is that new agent that gets started and they get someone that picks up the phone. They stumble through the intro, which guys, that's expected, by the way. We expect you to kind of stumble through that thing. Okay, like your first call. And then they don't call anybody else. They overanalyze all the leads. It's, oh, wait, this person's name is Dominique. Every Dominique I ever talked to didn't like me. Oh, and he's in California. He's gonna hate me. All right, well, overthinking the lead. Guys, we don't even know if Dom's gonna answer the phone, okay? We don't know if John's gonna, we don't know if Tina's gonna answer. Like, you don't know who's gonna answer the phone, and you don't know everybody's mood. Sometimes people have an off day. That's why it's like not taking things personally is like the number one key to winning long term in this business. It's like if I took personally just what the things that were said to me today, I don't care. I'm calling you because you sent a request in, dude. I didn't send it in for you. You sent it in. So you're making my life harder.
Hmm.
When you can view it that way, everything changes. So the new agent that comes in makes a couple of dials and then just kind of like is scared to dial throughout the rest of the day. Like they'll make like 30 dials and they just kind of like are like, I made 30 dials, like, or they don't tell anybody that because it's really not, something we want to brag about. And then they kind of hide in the corner, right? And it's like, guys, that's not going to work. Versus the agent that stumbles through the intro, gets the feedback, doesn't overthink it, writes the feedback down, guys, also, like writes it down in a way that they can perceive it. Because you might be like, oh, I have this objections and rebuttals guide, which is great, don't get me wrong, but it's like maybe that's not how you would say it. So write down how you would say it. So next time somebody says to you, oh, I already got that taken care of, you know exactly what to say because you wrote it down when somebody gave you feedback. That's honestly, it sounds so stupid, but it's like you can tell who cares when they're getting feedback based off what they're doing. If I'm giving someone feedback and they're like this, I'm like, I'm wasting my damn oh, like, well, what are we having a picnic? Like, I'm wasting my damn time even giving you feedback because you don't care. You think you already did that. You already said that. So what I see is the agents who do that, Dom, and they keep dialing through, they take the feedback, they implement it, they get just like all of us did, you're going to have your wins and you're going to have your losses, but they work through the losses and they're like, what could I have done better? And they shortly realize that there's going to be some phone calls, guys, not all, there's going to be some phone calls that there was simply not anything that you could have done better. They don't, there's going to be, like there's going to be a couple, there's this like 10% of people that just flat out, they don't want it. They don't care who calls. Me, Dom, Bryce, you know, Jaden, they don't care who calls. They were just going to do that anyways. And when you can realize that and stop taking things personally, it's going to alleviate a lot of that. So dialing through, even when you feel like you suck. If you don't feel like you suck for a little bit, like, are you really working? In my opinion, no. But like, working towards getting a little bit better every day. Even if you made 100 dials, the next day you made 150. All right, cool. We're getting somewhere as long as we can keep going on the up and up, right? You talked to 2 people yesterday. Today you talked to 10. That's when you see the agent go from zero to actually issuing business on a day-to-day basis. That's when you get excited. It's like, I get more excited to see new agents writing business than I ever do to write on my own pen at this point. It's like, this business is so duplicatable, but guys, to duplicate anything, it's not going to happen overnight. So those agents, Dom, that really take the feedback, dive in and understand, hey, this is going to be a little bit of a process, but if I run through the process, it's going to be a lot easier than if I walk slowly through a fire. Okay, you're going to end up with a lot more burns that way, and you're probably going to drive yourself out of the business. I'm just being honest. And I know I'm probably like a little bit, I'm like, Dom, I don't think you mind me being overly honest, but it's like, guys, that's just the reality of it.
No, this
I don't
is
wish it on you, but it's
this
the reality of it.
no, this is real, and I kind of want to follow up with that because I'm seeing this um and in the way you're speaking, but also the way you're teaching. But posture, okay? I was at a lock-in, was it last week? We were in Phoenix, and now the agent, she's on here, Kylie, and she is she's working hard, okay? And I think a lot of agents are working hard. I think when you get to a point where you're working hard and you feel and you're like, well, why? You had these clients that you just didn't close them, right? You're like, man, but they needed it, right? They needed it. I know they needed it, but I didn't close them. It always comes back to trust, okay? How do you address trust with good posture as you're speaking to us, okay? And what like, how do you teach that? Do you know what I mean? How do you teach that? Because it's not, because she's then when you get off the phone, you know how you say all the right things when you get off the phone?
Yep.
Like you say everything that you're like, man, I should have said this, I should have said that. And just, how do you start saying that on the phone? How do you get that courage to say those things on the phone without, offending and, I mean, all this type of stuff. So, like, how did you get there? And also, how are you teaching agents to be bold?
Yeah, so I mean, I think in this industry, guys, it goes back to kind of like what I said at the beginning, and this is what I tell myself whenever I feel uncomfortable. Because sometimes I'm on the phone with somebody too, and I'm like, they just don't sound comfortable, or like I'm about to ask them questions and I know they're about to get uncomfortable. And like that's okay and that's good. But what we have to realize is it goes back to like you're the person that wrote the policy or could have wrote the policy, so to say, when that person dies. Like guys, like we die one time. And I'm being so serious. And it has such a significant impact on that person's loved ones that it's just as serious as like it's way more serious than 90% of the 99% of the things in life. So when you talk to somebody, you can feel if they don't trust you. Like the beginning of the phone call, like you can kind of feel it, right? So what I do, Dom, is, to kind of make sure trust is relayed on the phone is first and foremost, if I'm talking to somebody like you, Dom, that answers the phone, I'm talking to you just like this. I'm going to match your energy, your tonality, so to say. I'm going to be there with you. If I'm talking to Mary, I might bring my voice down a little bit, but I'm saying the same exact things. I'm telling Mary the same exact stuff, just in a way that Mary can hear it. What I mean by that is in the beginning to build trust, first and foremost, yes, I'm going to send my credentials. I always do that. And I'll say, now, Dom, you got my license there with the state of California? Dom's like, yeah, I got it. All right, cool. Took a look at it. All right, beautiful. Now, Dom, before we jump right in, Do you want to just take 2 minutes to look me up with the California Department of Insurance? I can help you look me up. If you're getting objected so much, it's based off of trust. If you lead with that, I'm not saying you should always lead with it, but it does take 2 minutes to help somebody look you up. Have them type it into Google. Find my California life insurance producer. Boom. Walk them through. Type this in. Okay, boom. It's so easy. If you've never looked yourself up, please look yourself up. It takes 2 minutes. No joke. So doing that and then sending them, like, as an example, Dom's in California, I'm in Massachusetts. I'm going to follow up my driver's license. He's going to be like, it's a Massachusetts driver's license. I'm going to say, I know, Dom, you see how the Department of Insurance is also showing my driver's license and it has the same address there? All right, perfect. You match those up. Awesome. At that point, people typically don't think like you're trying to hurt them. They're usually a lot more open. So if that helps you in the beginning, rock with it. Some people also will be like, honestly, when I ask that, I would say about 75% of the time, people are like, I was gonna, no, but I trust you. The fact that you even are telling me to look you up, like, don't worry about it. I trust you. We're good. I'm like, Dom, are you sure? Because like, if we get when we get into that application, they are going to ask us some sensitive information, such as your full name, where you were born, your social security number, your beneficiaries, their date of birth, and your banking information to fund the policy. Are you sure you don't want to go ahead and look me up? No? All right, great. At that point, we're moving forward. Oh, yeah, you do? Okay, great. You matched it up. Awesome. We're moving forward. Because we're moving forward in this direction of we're not sitting there going like uncertain on the phone. We're sitting there like, now I can talk to Dom. And in my opening, this is just who I've been since I started asking hard questions in the home, which wasn't always, okay? Like, so this started in the home and it was really uncomfortable to do that face to face and ask them, if you had died last night, who's the first person, that is picking up the pieces? No, I don't know. Okay, like we're going to start knowing the answers to these questions. So what I'm going to ask Dom for, or this by my potential client for in the beginning, is I'm going to say, now, Dom, we're going to talk about some uncomfortable things today. Do I have your full permission to be completely transparent with you throughout this conversation?
Mm.
It's about life insurance. Why would they not want you to be completely transparent? They do. And now he's like, yeah, and his subconscious mind is probably like, I trust her a bit more too, because she's just gonna keep it real with me. So it's like when you can do that, now you know the person's rocking with you. So by default, your brain is like, they're rocking with me.
Yep.
So
Yep.
now you're moving. That's fun. So it's like, how do you do that? You do that through being a human being, right? Like, honestly, like sometimes it's like people, if anyone says to me like some like BS there, like, oh, like, it's like, that ain't my client. Like, just get off the phone. So sometimes you got to just politely dismiss yourself. But those hard things kind of at the close, so to say, maybe they're like, oh, I got to think about it, but you already
Yes.
know. Yeah,
Yes. Okay. So like, yeah, like you've built all that. They're on the gravy train. Okay.
yeah,
And if I look at my cells, if I say out of 10, there's probably two or three that at the end, if I didn't hold my posture, I would have lost it. Do you know what I mean? So how do you hold that posture after you already felt, right? I think this is the key. You already felt they like me, they trust me. But then I get to the end and they give me a little curveball. How do I still take that friend and lead them to the finish line? I
right.
think that is profitability right there when you learn how to start doing that.
Facts, because that's not the layup that everybody can just close, right?
Yes.
That's when you have to be a person and be willing to do things that are uncomfortable, and
Yes.
uncomfortability pays the bills.
Yes.
So, with that being said, when someone throws me a curveball, it's at the end, everything went good. We know that John needs the insurance, he's not confused, and Mary's there, and now they're like, but we got to think about it. Like they always definitely want to do business with you. If
Yes.
they
They're
do
gonna call you
business,
tomorrow.
yeah, they're gonna call you tomorrow. If we do business, it's definitely gonna be with you. Like, we love you. You're awesome. But we just have to think about it. Okay, well, John, correct me if I'm wrong. As we talked through this conversation, you mentioned to me you don't have any life insurance. If you died last night, Mary, you're gonna be in a really bad position. So what's stopping us right now to see if we can go ahead and even get you approved for it? And I'll let them talk. Now, usually they're going to be like, well, if it's like a budget issue, sometimes people are scared to say that. They'll be like, well, like, I'm not really sure. Or they'll be like, well, maybe option C or what, however you pitch, right? They'll be like, oh, maybe like the $5,000 one or, but like, I'm not sure. Okay, guys, now you know you have an affordability issue, not a trust issue, because that's all that's happening at the end. They don't trust you or they can't afford it. Like one or the other. So how can we bring the cost down or how can we better understand where they're coming from through asking questions? Because if John's like, "Oh, well, I'm going to call you tomorrow. You're my girl, but like don't worry. Like we're going to get the insurance, but not till tomorrow." All right, John, you told me if you die tonight, Mary's not in a good position tomorrow. Why do we have to wait till tomorrow? And talking.
Mm.
The person inside of us wants to keep talking. Just stop. It's like the closing question, like just stop talking. Like there's a time and a place in your presentation that's going to better help the family when you stop talking. And when you do that, you'll be surprised how many people are like, all right, let's do the 30,000. Okay, you're right. If I die tomorrow, Mary is in a bad position. Okay, what does it mean if I get qualified? What that means, John, is if you're approved, they're going to draft your account in the next 24 to 48 hours. It's going to reoccur, but you're covered as of tonight. Sound good? Like,
Mm.
it's like at that point, you have all the information in front of you. Like, I would be disservicing John if I don't challenge him. So the way I had to look at it for me was I'm not being mean. I would be doing this family a disservice if I walked away and just said, oh, yeah, just reach out to me. This is my direct line. It's like, no, you have everything. You have the who, what, when, where, why, how in front of you. You know they need the insurance. We've established it. What is stopping them at the end? Outside of you not getting uncomfortable, outside of you not asking additional questions. And guys, are you going to close 100% of the time? No. No one closes 100% of the time. But will that up your close ratio quite a bit? Yeah, just like Dom said, I would agree. Out of 10 apps, if you don't give 2 or 3 a push, I wouldn't have 10, I'd have 7. And over time, that's 20 to 30% less income. And that's always the sticky business. The
And that's
people you push.
and what's that? That's your lead expense.
Exactly.
You're always that close in this business.
Mhm.
It's these little things. It's that one chargeback that you're mulling over. Let's pick up this skill so that chargeback never hurts you again.
Yep.
That's what this is about. Man, this has been killer. This has been killer. Anybody have any other questions? I can keep going. All right.
Marisa, did you ever, I mean, you talked about this a little bit like with with like posture, right? And I think like you probably hear a lot of new agents come on. It's like, I feel like it's human nature to get on the phones and have a very like nice, tone and posture. You know what I mean? So like, how do you articulate that tone and posture, like we said, not being mean, but like what it takes to get people to move?
Yeah, so that was really big for me because like coming into insurance, guys, I came to college, but I was in hospitality like my whole life. So I was like, yeah, thank you. Thanks, Bryce. I can't wait to see you tomorrow with like at 5 o'clock. Like, oh my God, right? That doesn't work, guys. Like they ain't answering the phone. Bryce is like, okay, she's weird as shit. Like she's thanking me. Like I sent a request in and she's over here. Thank you, thank you. Hey, is this Bryce? Like that doesn't work. Like if I was Bryce, I'd hang up on me. Like, no, this ain't Bryce. Bye. There's a cross between being polite and being overly nice. Like, as an example, guys, my job for like literally like 4 years before I could like legally serve alcohol, so to say, like at the restaurant was host stand. At the host stand, my job was no matter who walked out that door, I had to tell them, have a great night. See you next time. To the point I would be at a restaurant out to eat on a Saturday night. I'd be like, have a good night. See you next time. Like to the host stand when I'm leaving. Because like that's just what my brain defaulted to. Like this like really like nice, thank you. And like guys, a lot of people in this business are extremely nice. We're just direct. So in terms of changing that posture for the tone to make sense, because this does happen all the time, Bryce. Like you're like, thank you so much, or you hear the new agent, thank you so much, I'll talk to you then, and you're like, shoot, they ain't gonna answer that damn appointment, phone call when the person calls.
Right.
So there's a line of making sure, like, I have this in front of me. I've had it in front of me since literally the day I started insurance. I'm busy. I'm important. I'm in control.
Mm.
And whenever I feel out of control, I look at that thing and I'm like, I'm busy. I'm important. I'm in control. Let me take control back of this conversation in a nice way. Now, things that, as an example, we can go ahead and there's a way we can transition, like thank you. That was a really hard thing for me to stop saying, for me.
Mhm.
Like literally, no joke, for like 6 months. Stop saying thank you was like my manager wanted to punch me in the face, like straight up. Like he's like, dude, like you said thank you again. Like we're gonna get no showed all day again, So what I had to do was it changed that thank you to, all right, Dom. Well, I look forward to helping you and your family tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Have a great day.
Mm.
That's just cadence. That's just being a human. I'm not thanking them. They didn't do nothing for me. They should be thanking me, if anything, because they reached out to us with a request for life insurance and I'm there to help them. So, guys, don't use things like thank you. Use things like make it a great evening. I look forward to serving you and your family tomorrow. I look forward to helping you. You can be nice, but the tonality needs to be like, all right, Dom, I look forward to helping you and your family tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Make it a great day. I'm busy, I'm important, I'm in control. Because if not, he ain't answering the phone. Because he knows when he dies, I'm going to be a part of it, right? It's like, guys, like, we got to wake up on that. People want people that are going to go to bat for them. So your posture got to be like, hey, I'm busy, important, and in control. Like, hey, Janice, no, you did fill the form out. I have your email as janicejones127@yahoo.com. That's you, right? All right, great. Like, moving forward type of posture, but also a posture of, great, I'm just the person assigned to you. Great, it's just my job. Great, it's just my job. It's just my job. If you can frame yourself to literally act as if you're sitting in a state office,
Yeah.
calling people about their Medicare benefits, okay? I don't know. Pick your favorite thing that the state office does. And that's what you're calling about. How would your cadence be different? And I think that that's a really good question to ask yourself. If you were literally sitting in whatever state you live, I was sitting in the state of Massachusetts office, how would my cadence be different calling folks?
Calling folks, giving them a benefit.
Correct. That they asked for.
Take a step back. That's huge. How, are we going to call and beg people to come and pick up welfare?
No.
Are we going to call and beg people to get on disability? Are we going to call it? No. But we know disability is good. We know people need it. Okay. And we're going to call people as if we believe in disability. And you know what I mean? Like this is the first time I really thought about it in that fashion. That's huge. A great question, Bryce. Because that does differ from the being bold, you know? Tonality and being bold, two totally different things.
Right.
Yeah. Damn. You got another one, B? Oh, actually, Jaden had one in the chat. Um, he says, how do you learn to keep emotion out of business? I pour so much into it. Sometimes I get frustrated when people don't see the value of life insurance. How do you recommend keeping a level mindset in those situations?
You got to remember, a lot of people receive information differently. What I mean by that is, if you feel like at the end of the presentation that you did 10 presentations and at the end of 10, maybe like 7 didn't see the value, you got to ask yourself, what am I not asking? Where am I not building the value? Or where am I not taking enough time to build
Mm.
the value? Because sometimes we walk over things. People will be like, well, I have $50,000 saved. Oh, that's great. So you have $50,000 saved. So we know that, Lord willing, something happens, Janice can replace your income for about a year. That's perfect. What I mean, guys, is sometimes we have to, you got to kill off or help them understand. People be like, well, I have a 401k. Okay, that's good. But like a 401k isn't there for when you die. It's there for when you retire. So sometimes taking the time to slow down within a presentation and hearing what they're telling you, but also keep asking questions until you feel full clarity of why they need the insurance. I always say this and I'll continue to. They have to sell me on why they need the insurance, but I have to ask good questions to make sure they can sell me on why they need the insurance. Because if not, they're not going to see value at the end.
Wow.
But when
Se-
value exceeds price, people buy.
Whoever asks the most questions wins. I think we hear that statement a lot, but what does that lead to? Do you know what I mean? Asking a lot of questions leads to the real why, and that value for insurance, Jaden, you're speaking of, that's all on us. That's all on us. And when after that call or after those calls, you got to reflect back, like she said, and say, what could I have done differently? Because the mistake I made was I would get pissed at the clients. They. In sales, it has to be me, 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 because you can't control them. You can get pissed off and stuff, but it's going to do you no good. You can be absolutely right. They could be complete idiots. What is that? You being right, that's not going to help. You know what I mean? But I learned that the hard way. It was like, dude, you got to change something because Jaden, sometimes you're like, well, I did this with one and they totally got it. Yeah, I know. Because there's some people out there, dude, some people just already got it. But to stay profitable, that's where that push comes in. That's where that tonality comes in. That's where those questions come in. So big
Well,
stuff.
I think that's one of the hardest parts, right? Because we got the intro, we got our script, we got our financial inventory. It's very like straightforward, right? But those questions, those are the part that can, that requires you to be on your toes a little bit more, right? So like how do you get better at asking those questions? Like what did you do to even learn what questions to ask to like get it to that point where they kind of see it?
So to be really transparent, what I had to do, so again, I started asking these in the home. And the reason I remember that is because I would go in the home, guys, I would open up my laptop and I had the questions written out. Okay, like this.
I like it.
I was like, so
Yes,
it was like it
Have
was
a
like my
yes.
bank
cheat
of
sheet.
them.
And I would always just like drag the computer to make sure, like I still had the questions out. And I wouldn't allow myself to pitch options until I asked all the questions.
Mhm.
Because
Man.
it's like now I'm forcing myself to ask the question. So when I get out of there and I call my upline and was like, oh, I didn't close, like now I can really be, I did ask the questions, but I know I could have done something better, right? Like wasn't the questions, right? But guys, we're doing telesales. You can put the questions right in front of you. So like the way I learned kind of how to ask those questions was I got with somebody who was way better than me at the time. And I was like, what do you ask people to build the need? Because I feel like sometimes I talk to people and they feel like they don't need it or like they can just think about it for the next 3 years. Like, like what do you do? And we started asking who, what, when, where. And then I always end with this. Well, Dom, now I know why you sent the request in. And
Mm.
that's when I would basically know I could pitch the insurance. I asked all my questions. I asked who we're burdening. I asked what it looked like. I asked, when would they be able to come up with the funds or when would they have to leave home or depending on the appointment. Like where would they go? Like would your family be able to stay in the home or even final expense? What does that look like? Guys, you got to realize it's not necessarily always just final expense piece of it. It's well, income is gone. John's whole income is gone out the window. But again, it goes back, we don't ask good questions. We don't know that. So, yeah.
Mm. I remember Sean used to always ask me like after an appointment, he'd be like, all right, Dom, so what was the wife's name? And what was their kids' names? What'd their daughter do for a living? And I got so used to like getting like the names and stuff. He'd be like, okay, cool. What'd she do for work? And I'd be like, uh, he'd be like, all right, so you don't really need any help from me. You just need to ask more questions about your client. You don't know enough about your client and you're expecting to get their information and close the deal and make money. Shame on you.
That.
Whew. When I heard that, I was like, oh, okay. I got to find out more about them. And it made a lot of sense. I was like, dude, here I am trying to get their social banking. I expect to get paid. And I don't even know their granddaughter's name or what her interests are. 5 minutes after I left their house. Oh, bro, you better slow down. Make sense? And if you,
That's
anybody on
big.
here, and if anybody on here can relate to that, dude, we've all been there. We've all been there. We got to slow down.
Yeah.
Okay. Because what happens is we speed up. I already know. Like you get this script and all of a sudden we just get happy to get somebody on the phone. We got to expect people to pick up the phone. Okay. So then we don't get in a hurry. We don't get excited. And then we just, we dig in there. I like that. Who, why, what, where, when. You guys write that down. Write that down and just have that there. I'm not moving on until I know the answers. Who, why, what, where, when. Whew. Dude, just like you're drawing a line in the cement and saying we're either going to go on this side and I'm helping you, or we're going to stay over here.
In real quick with that, like with the questions, the reason I was willing to do that, like be clear, guys, I wasn't always willing to do that, was because I was like 2 months in and couldn't sell my sister an insurance policy. So I was like, yo, there's something I'm doing wrong, clearly. Like, like you can ask her, she wouldn't buy insurance from me. Like, I like begged her to. I was like, I need my first sale, like, please. Like, I need to look good to the company. Like, I can do this. They're losing hope, and I got those questions. I went in there because it's like I was closing like 20, like I was not closing. And then I was closing like 20%. But then the questions came and I started closing a little bit more. Then I started getting more familiar, like what Dom's saying. Guys, you might have a lead. As an example, I had this lady, Sharon, okay? It's spelled Charron. When I called her, I said, hey, Sharon. She said, Sharon. I said, thank you for correcting me, Sharon. This is Marysa getting back to you. Because I want to show her I respect her. I want to know how to say her name properly. I want to know how to say her husband's name properly. I want to say it right through the whole thing. Because that thing can mess you up. Like you're showing options and you're like, oh, well, if something were to happen, then your wife, Michelle, it's like, nah, just be like, if something were to happen, your wife, Michelle, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you should have that written down. Just so I'm not rude, what's your wife's first name? All right, great, Michelle. Michelle, it's great to meet you. How are you doing? Like, you want to be like, you need to be like that. If not, they're not going to be probably messing with you like that heavy, going back to those 2, 3 out of 10. They're going to be like, oh, well, like, we don't really resonate with her.
That's it. That's it. Yo, thank you so much. All right, on this Friday. All right, I said Friday the 13th is supposed to be bad luck. We got good luck today. Good gracious. All right. So I just want to say thank you so much. Everybody, I hope you got a lot of good tactical information that you can put into play. And tomorrow we got new agent training in the morning. Actually, your sister's doing it, right?
Yes,
All right.
Christina will be
So
doing
we got Christina on there doing new agent training. Hop on there 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. And we'll be on all weekend helping families. This is the time to, and one last thing, I know we're a little bit over, but weekends. Okay. I'm new. I'm coming in here. I'm used to working Monday through Friday. I heard that we can work weekends, but I mean, I don't really know. Like, why should I work weekends? Why? Why is it?
I look at the weekends like it's like a it's like a bonus. What I mean by that is like on a Saturday or a Sunday, especially a Sunday. There's nothing like a Sunday afternoon. I'll just say that. Like you might be like, okay, like I go to church. Like I understand. Like I'm with you. A lot of people go to church, but church is not all day. Like respectfully, right? Like it's not. Guys, we gotta realize sometimes that's the only day that people are home together, like a husband and a wife. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy you called me on this Sunday because like we're never together. We could do it right now.
Yeah.
Like that's what happens. Capitalize the weekends. Think about just like you just said, Don, like, okay, if you were that person Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and you were working, like you wouldn't have necessarily been able to do it when you're doing your working hours now here. You got to implement at least like Saturday. Sunday, if you're willing to work a Sunday over a Saturday, honestly, my personal opinion, like do it. Because it's like the people who are willing to do that and go the extra mile, it pays crazy. There was one year, Dom, I think it was 2020, that I worked Sundays just because of everything that was going on, pandemic, all that fun jazz. And we were still like face to face, but I would be like in people's driveways, all that fun stuff, right? And what I realized that year was I tracked what I wrote on Sundays. And I did it because I was like, wow, I'm writing a lot on Sundays. Like I'm only running like half the day, but I feel like I'm like killing it, right? Like, what's up? So I tracked how much I wrote through 2020 just on Sunday, specifically on Sunday. And it was $98,507. Guys, that year I issued like 440. That's like a fourth of my production. It's a no-brainer. Free up, free up. If you're not free on Sunday, what are you doing? Like, let's be honest. Like, you're chilling. Like, it's Sunday, okay? Some people are going to be out and about. Yeah, that's great. That's all good. There's going to be other people that are ready to take your call, and literally you're the only person who can help them because you're working Sunday, and they're never home with their spouse. So capitalize on, or someone else will.
That's it. That's it.
Could I
Yo,
ask a question?
Thank you. So, oh yeah, you got one. Yeah, absolutely.
Hi. So I go to church, but sundown Friday to sundown Saturday is my Sabbath. I can work all day Sundays though. I was gonna ask. I'm also in Massachusetts. Could I exchange contact information? Could I practice with you, please, and thank you?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to.
I really like your energy. I like how you vibe. And I work in retail, and I have to do sales. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but if I could do that, I think I could really knock this out.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I'll give you my contact information. Absolutely.
Thank you.
You got it.
You got to love this team. Marysa, thanks a ton. All right, you guys, we're going to have this recording out. It'll be up on YouTube, and let's crush it this weekend.
I appreciate you, Dom. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marysa.